Hey everyone! This is my travel vlog from Russia. During this trip, we visited both Moscow and St. Petersburg, two absolutely fascinating cities. If you've never been to Russia, you probably wouldn't believe how beautiful this country really is. In my opinion, it easily rivals some of the most stunning destinations in Europe. This video is all about Moscow, and in the next one, I'll take you to St. Petersburg. So, let's get started. On our first day in Moscow, after checking into our hotel and getting some rest, we headed out to watch the famous Russian national dance show, Kostroma, one of the most popular cultural performances among visitors. With more than 150 performers on stage, the show tells the dramatic story of Russia from its earliest beginnings through dance, music, and breathtaking choreography. Historical events such as the Tatar invasions, the Communist Revolution, World War II, and many more are brought to life in a truly spectacular way. It was an unforgettable experience, and if you ever visit Moscow, I highly recommend not missing it. The next morning, we joined a city tour. I filmed some of Moscow's streets from the bus, and right away we saw some incredible architecture. This stunning building is the Red Gates Administrative Building, one of Moscow's famous Seven Sisters skyscrapers. There are 7 of these iconic Stalin-era buildings scattered throughout the city, and this is one of them. This is Moscow's White House. Next, we arrived at Sparrow Hills, one of the best viewpoints in the city. From here, you get an amazing panoramic view of Moscow, including its most famous stadium. Just nearby stands Moscow State University, another one of the legendary Seven Sisters buildings. As we continued our journey through the city, we passed many interesting buildings before reaching Victory Park. The park was built to commemorate Russia's victory over Nazi Germany. At its center stands a massive monument, and at its base is an equestrian statue depicting a warrior defeating a dragon. The dragon symbolizes Germany. Throughout the park, there are numerous memorials honoring those who lost their lives in Russia's wars. After that, we drove past Moscow City, the modern business district filled with luxury skyscrapers and futuristic architecture. And here's another one of Moscow's Seven Sisters. Along the way, we saw many fascinating statues and buildings before arriving at the magnificent Cathedral of Christ the Saviour. Recognized as the tallest Orthodox Christian church in the world, it is easily one of the most beautiful churches I've ever seen. The architecture is breathtaking, and the artwork covering the ceilings and walls is simply extraordinary. After passing through a beautiful park and several historic buildings, we made our way to the Kremlin. For centuries, the Kremlin palaces were home to Russia's most powerful rulers, and today the Grand Kremlin Palace serves as the official residence of the President of Russia. Here you'll find the famous Tsar cannon, commissioned by Ivan the Terrible. And this enormous bell is the Tsar bell, weighing around 200 tons. It was crafted between 1725 and 1733 by two master Russian craftsmen. Before it was completed, a fire broke out. In an attempt to extinguish the flames, people poured cold water onto the bell, causing an 11-ton fragment to crack off. The bell has never rung, but according to legend, if it ever did, people up to 50 kilometers away would hear it. This is the Cathedral of the Dormition, where every Russian Tsar was crowned. It was also the place where leaders of the Russian Orthodox Church were chosen, and several religious figures are buried here. The next church is the Cathedral of the Annunciation, home to remarkable paintings and priceless works of art. And this is the Ivan the Great Bell Tower. There are several more churches within the complex, making the Kremlin one of the most beautiful historic sites in Moscow. And of course, this is the famous Kremlin wall. For lunch, we stopped at a nearby KFC, which was surprisingly delicious, and then headed back to the hotel to relax. The next morning, we visited Moscow's iconic Red Square. This is undoubtedly the city's most famous tourist attraction. That incredible red brick building is the State Historical Museum. Just look at how beautiful it is. And this is GUM, Moscow's famous shopping arcade, which is stunning both inside and out. Then there's St. Basil's Cathedral, one of Moscow's most recognizable landmarks. It's impossible to stop admiring its colorful domes. This is also where you'll find Lenin's mausoleum. Visitors can enter and see the preserved body of Vladimir Lenin, which remains on display more than a century after his death. The atmosphere inside is a bit eerie, but it's definitely fascinating. Every corner of Red Square is filled with beautiful architecture and historic landmarks. A little farther ahead is Moscow's 0-kilometer marker, the point from which all distances in Russia are officially measured. Across from it is a lovely garden filled with colorful flowers, making it a perfect spot for photos. After that, we went to explore Moscow's famous metro stations, which are often described as underground works of art. Every year, countless tourists visit these stations just to admire their architecture. One of the most famous is this station, dating back to 1935. It's a magnificent example of Stalinist architecture, featuring elegant stonework, grand chandeliers, and mosaics honoring influential Russian figures, such as Lenin and Alexander Nevsky. The next station stood out because of its beautiful stained glass panels. Lights shine behind the glass, while the floor features a striking granite checkerboard pattern. At the far end of the station is a large artwork dedicated to world peace. Another station showcases the historic friendship between Russia and Ukraine through its impressive design. The intricate decorations and stonework throughout the halls were created by Ukrainian craftsmen. The following station immediately catches your eye with its detailed plasterwork and colorful mosaic panels. These mosaics are made from decorative stones and focus on themes of unity between the Russian and Ukrainian peoples. Revolution Square Metro Station, located near Red Square, is decorated with 80 bronze statues depicting Soviet-era men and women. One of the most famous statues features a guard standing beside his dog. According to local legend, touching the dog's nose brings good luck, and as you can see, many people still do it today. Later, we visited Arbat Street, one of Moscow's most famous pedestrian streets, filled with souvenir shops and local attractions. You'll also find the former home of Alexander Pushkin, Russia's most celebrated poet. Interestingly, Pushkin only lived here for about 2.5 months. Today, the house has been turned into a museum, and here you can see a statue of Pushkin and his wife. After returning to the hotel and taking a short break, we headed out in the evening to Café Pushkin, one of Moscow's most famous and beloved restaurants. And if you ever visit Russia, make sure to try borscht, a traditional beet soup that's absolutely delicious. To experience Moscow at night, we spent some time walking through the city before returning to Red Square. This is GUM once again, beautifully illuminated after dark. The lights decorating the shopping center and the surrounding streets create an almost magical atmosphere. And here's the inside of GUM, luxurious, elegant, and definitely on the expensive side. Red Square has a completely different charm at night. You can even hear the clock chimes marking the hour. And here's the famous St. Basil's Cathedral glowing beautifully after sunset. And that's it for my Moscow travel vlog. The next day, we traveled to St. Petersburg, and that video will be coming soon. If you enjoy travel content like this, be sure to check out my other travel vlogs as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.